It's the scandal no one saw coming, but everyone is talking about Kirk Frost and Mendeecees Harris. Two of the most controversial figures in love and hip-hop history have just been blacklisted from reality TV that's right after years of drama betrayals. And headline-making, moments their time in the spotlight has come to a shocking and unexpected halul. But why? What really went down behind the scenes that led producers to make this drastic decision? Sources say it all started with an explosive backstage altercation, one so intense, so chaotic that security couldn't even contain the situation. Cameras were rolling, tempers were flaring, and before anyone knew it, fists were flying. And now, after years of being reality TV royalty, Kirk and Mendeecees are reportedly done for good. No more cameras, no more confessionals, just a cold, hard reality that they never saw coming. But hold on, there's more to this story than what's being reported. Was this really just about one fight? Or was there something much bigger brewing behind the scenes, betrayals, secret alliances, and shocking revelations? This scandal is deeper than anyone imagined. Stay tuned because we're about to break it all down. No, nobody saw it coming. Not like this. The tension between Kirk Frost and Mendeecees Harris had been simmering beneath the surface for weeks, but nobody expected it to boil over into chaos. What started as harmless shade turned into a career-ending brawl, one that would shake the entire love and hip-hop franchise. To its core, it all went down at a private closed door after show taping where cast members were supposed to air out their differences before the official reunion episode. No cameras, no pressure, just a chance to clear the air. At least that was the plan. But when you put egos, grudges, and reality TV stars hungry for drama in the same room, it's only a matter of time before something explosive happens. And that night it did. Kirk and Mendeecees had never been close, but there was mutual respect. Until recently, rumors started swirling that Mendeecees had been talking reckless behind Kirk's back, calling him a washed-up has-been who only stayed relevant because of Rashid's hustle. At first, Kirk brushed it off. After all, love and hip-hop thrived. On drama and loose lips were nothing new. But when multiple people came forward saying that Mendeecees had taken things even further, Kirk couldn't ignore it anymore. The whispers turned into full-blown accusations. Mendeecees was allegedly telling producers that Kirk was desperate to start fake beef just to stay on the show. Becky was a liability, bringing nothing new to the franchise except old scandals and tired drama for Kirk that was personal. He had the nerve to say, "I'm the one holding." The show back, Kirk reportedly vented to cast members before the fight. This man barely got out of prison and now he thinks he's running things. It wasn't just ego, it was about respect. And Kirk wasn't about to let someone like Mendeecees disrespect. His legacy inside sources say that Kirk pulled Mendeecees aside before the reunion taping, wanting to settle things. Man to man, but Mendeecees wasn't backing down. If you worried about what I'm saying, maybe you should fix what's broken. Mendeecees allegedly told Kirk, his tone dripping with arrogance. Kirk's face twisted, his jaw clenched, and that was all it took. What started as a heated exchange turned into a full-blown screening match with cast members and producers in complete shock. "We're a guest on this show. I built this before you even got here." Kirk snapped, pointing a finger at Mendeecees. She just laughed a slow, mocking laugh that sent Kirk over the edge before security could even react. Kirk shoved Mendeecees hard, sending him stumbling back into a chair. That was the moment everything spiraled out of control. Mendeecees lunged forward, grabbing Kirk's shirt, and in seconds, fists were flying, chairs crashed, glasses shattered, cast members screamed, security rushed in trying to separate them. But both men were seeing red. Yandy Smith, Mendeecees' wife, was yelling at him to stop, while Rashida was desperately trying to pull Kirk away, but it was too late. The damage was already done. The worst part, it was all caught on camera. Someone in that room had pulled out their phone. The second things started getting tense, and the moment Kirk and M threw hands, the footage was already spreading like wildfire within minutes. Clips started surfacing on social media. Fans were shocked, comments were flooding in, and the Love and Hip Hop production team was in full panic mode. "This ain't normal reality TV drama," one producer reportedly said. "This is career-ending. The fight was so intense, so brutal, that producers had no choice." But to shut down filming immediately, Kirk was pulled into one room. Furious and still fuming Mez was in another, his face twisted with rage. And behind the scenes, the executives were already making a decision that nobody expected because while fights were common in reality TV, what had just happened was too far. It was too dangerous, too raw, too destructive. And before the night was even over, an emergency meeting had been called The Verdict. Kirk Frost and Mendeecees Harris were about to get hit with the biggest punishment of their careers. And this time, there was no coming back. The fallout from the fight was immediate and brutal within hours. The Love and Hip Hop production team had a crisis on their hands, and it wasn't just about broken chairs and shattered Evos. The network executives weren't just angry, they were livid. Fights had happened before. Sure, reality TV thrive on drama and a little pushing and shoving was expected, but this was different. This was two longtime cast members throwing down in a way that could have led to serious injuries and worse. It had all been leaked. The video was everywhere. Fans had already dissected every second of the footage, replaying the moment Kirk shoved Ems the way Ems lunged at him, the sounds of glass breaking in the background, and the reactions. Explosive social media was in a frenzy. Never thought I'd see the day Kirk and Mendeecees get into a full-on brawl. Love and Hip Hop will never be the same. This fight was wild. Mendeecees straight up snapped. If Kirk and Mendeecees get kicked off the show over this, I'm done watching. Fans were divided. Some took Kirk's side, saying Mendeecees had no right to be talking down on a Love and Hip Hop OG. Others were Team Mendeecees, arguing that Kirk had no business putting his hands on someone first. But there was one thing everyone agreed on. This was one of the biggest scandals in the franchise's history. And the executives, they weren't just worried about the public reaction. They were worried about their reputation. The fight had gone beyond what they could spin into good TV. There were legal concerns. Sponsors were getting nervous. If they let Kirk and Mendeecees stay, it would send the wrong message. That's when the decision was made. By the next morning, both Kirk and Mendeecees got the call. They were officially fired from Love and Hip Hop. No warning, no second chances, just gone. Kirk was stunned. This ain't real. He reportedly told Rashida, pacing back and forth in their Atlanta home, "They ain't never done nothing like this before. They need me. I've been here since the beginning." But Rashida knew better. She had seen this coming. "Kirk, you quit your hands on Mendeecees," she told him, and it got out. They had no choice. Kirk wasn't trying to hear it. In his mind, he wasn't just another cast member. He was Love and Hip Hop royalty. He had been on the show for over a decade, built his brand, made money moves, and now they were tossing him aside like he was nothing. But Mendeecees had his own problems to deal with when he got the call. He was sitting in his living room with Yandy. The second he heard the words "we're letting you go," his whole body tensed. Nah, that's not happening," he said, shaking his head. "I bring too much to this show. They need me." But Yandy, she wasn't about to let this slide, so that's it. She snapped, grabbing her phone. "They're just gonna throw you out after everything. After we brought this show." She wasn't wrong. Yandy and Mendeecees had carried multiple seasons, their relationship, his legal battles, their struggles as a family. It had all been prime reality TV gold, but none of that mattered now. "I told you not to let him get to you," Yandy muttered, rubbing her temples. And now, look, we're done. The phone calls kept coming. Blogs were picking up the story. Other cast members were weighing in. And soon enough, it wasn't just about the fight. New rumors started spreading. Was Kirk Frost and Mendeecees. Harris Blake T. from all. Reality TV insiders claimed that multiple networks were now hesitant to work with them. Some execs felt they were too much of a liability, and with how quickly things had escalated, nobody wanted to take that risk. One producer even told the source, "We can't have another situation like this. If Kirk and Mendeecees couldn't keep it professional, how can we trust them on another show?" It was like the domino effect. Sponsorship deals on hold, potential spin-offs scrapped their entire reality TV. Careers were now hanging by a thread, but Kirk and Men, they weren't going down without a fight. Mendeecees called up his legal team. He wanted to know if he could fight the decision, sue for wrongful termination, or at least some sort of payout. Kirk, on the other hand, was thinking, bugger if they think I'm just gonna disappear. They got another thing coming. Kirk reportedly told a friend, "I built my name. I don't need Love and Hip Hop. I'll make my own moves." And just like that, the war wasn't just between them anymore. It was between them and the entire Love and Hip Hop empire. But could they really bounce back after this? Or was this the end of Kirk and Mendeecees' reality TV careers for good? The aftermath of Kirk and Mendeecees. Firing sent shockwaves throughout the entertainment industry. Both men were not just reality TV stars, they were staples of the genre deeply woven into the fabric of. Love and Hip Hop the Show had elevated them into household names, and now they were being shown the door, but neither Kirk nor Mendeecees was ready to let go of their fame. Quietly, they weren't about to be erased from reality TV history, Kirk ever. The businessman quickly got to work. He knew the power of public perception, and if he was going to salvage his career, he had to control the narrative instead of retreating from the spotlight. Kirk made sure the public knew his side of the story. Within days of this firing, he sat down for an exclusive interview with the major blog explaining the incident from his perspective. Listen, Kirk began looking directly into the camera. What happened between me and Mendeecees was unfortunate, but at the end of the day, I was defending my honor. You don't come at me like that, especially on my own turf. I've been with Love and Hip Hop from day one, and I've put in the work for them to just cut me off like that. It's foul. He wasn't just angry about the fight. Kirk felt betrayed by the very show he had helped build, a show that had showcased his highs and lows, his family drama, his business ventures. Now with one bad moment, all of it seemed to be erased, but Kirk wasn't going to let that be the end of story. I'm not done. He promised his fans. They might have shut the door on me, but trust me, I've got plenty of other doors I can open. Meanwhile, Mendeecees was dealing with his own whirlwind. His firing from Love and Hip Hop had hit him hard, but he wasn't about to lie down and take it. Like Kirk, Mendeecees knew that controlling the narrative was key, so he too reached out to the media. But his approach was different. Rather than focus on the fight, Mendeecees used his platform to talk about his journey. I've been through a lot. He began in an emotional Instagram live session, from my legal battles to my time away from my family. I've always faced challenges head on. This is just another obstacle, but I'll tell you this, I don't regret standing up for myself. I've always been about respect, and I won't let anyone disrespect me on or off camera. Yandy, of course, was by his side, her face a mask of control. Fury, she was upset, furious even, but she also knew how the game worked. She had been in reality TV long enough to understand that sometimes you have to take the hits and bounce back stronger. Trust me, y'all ain't seen the last of me's, she told their followers during the live session. He's been through worse than this, and we always come out on top. But behind closed doors, Mendeecees wasn't as sure. Being cut off from Love and Hip Hop was more than just a professional blow. It was personal. He had poured years of his life into the show, bare his soul on camera. And now with one mistake, it felt like all of that was being taken away, man. I don't know if we're going to bounce back from this. Mendeecees admitted to Yandy one evening, the weight of the situation finally hitting him. This is our bread and butter without Love and Hip Hop. What's left? Yandy wasn't one to wallow in self-pity. She was already thinking about their next move. We'll make something happen, she reassured him. We've got our own brand now. The fans love us, not just the show. We'll figure it out. But the real blow came when news began to leap that not only had Kirk and Ems been fired, they were being blacklisted from reality TV altogether. It started with whispers, rumors circulating in entertainment circles that no other reality show wanted to touch them. At first, it seemed like just another piece of gossip. But as the days went on, the rumors gained traction. Sources from several networks confirmed that Kirk and Mendeecees were now considered too risky to cast. It's not just about the fight. One insider claimed reality TV thrives on drama, but this went too far. No one wants to deal with the potential legal fallout or the possibility that they'll lose control again for Kirk. The news hit like a punch to the gut. Being fired from Love and Hip Hop was bad enough, but being blacklisted, that was a career death sentence without reality. TV Kirk's brand would lose visibility, and with that, his influence and income would dry up. I ain't about to be no has-be, Kirk told Rashida one night, frustration evident in his voice. They think they can just blackball me. Nah, I've built too much to let it all crumble. Rashida, ever the calm in Kirk storm, tried to reassure him. We'll figure something out, babe. You've got too much hustle in you to let this be the end. But Kirk wasn't convinced. He knew the reality of the situation. Without TV, staying relevant would be an uphill battle. He was a businessman, but his name and face were what kept his ventures afloat. Without that exposure, everything could fall apart on the other side of the country. Mendeecees was feeling the pressure too. His phone had gone eerily silent. Opportunities that had once come pouring in were now drying up. Brands weren't reaching out. His social media engagement was dropping. It was like the fight had Trayer an industry-wide freeze-out. "We need to do something fast," Mendeecees told Yandy, the frustration clear in his voice. "I'm not about to be blacklisted. This ain't how my story ends, Yandy. Ever the strategist already had a plan. We'll create our own opportunities," she said confidently. "If they don't want us on their shows, we'll make our own show. We don't need them. We've got the fan base, we've got the following. Let's do this ourselves." But despite their bold words, both Kirk and Mendeecees knew they were facing an ooh-pow battle. Being blacklisted was no small thing in the world of reality TV. It wasn't just about not getting cast on shows, it was about being shut out from an entire industry. And as the days turned into weeks, the gravity of the situation only grew heavier. They had built their lives around the fame and fortune of reality TV. Now they were facing the very real possibility that it could all come crashing down. Could they truly bounce back, or had the fight between them marked the end of their reality TV reign? The silence was deafening. Kirk Frost and Mendeecees Harris, two of the biggest names in love and hip-hop, were now facing the harsh reality of being blacklisted, the industry that once thrived on their drama. Their conflicts and their storylines had now turned its back on them. No more producers calling for confessional interviews. No more cameras following their every move. No more big checks. From reality TV at first, both men refused to believe it. They had been through ups and downs before, public scandals, cheating allegations, business failures, but they had always bounced back this time. Though something felt different for Kirk, the realization came when he started reaching out to other reality shows, hoping to land a spot on another franchise. He had connections in the industry, people he had worked with for years. Surely someone would give him a chance. But every call ended the same way. "Man, I wish I could help you," one producer told him, voice heavy with regret. But the network doesn't want that kind of heat right now. The fight was too much. Nobody wants the backlash. It wasn't just about the fight anymore. It was about reputation. Kirk wasn't just seen as a reality star who had been involved in an allocation. He was now labeled as too risky, too volatile, and worst of all, bad for business. Rashida saw the change in him immediately. Her husband, the man who had built himself into a reality TV veteran, now spent his days pacing the house, his phone glued to his hand waiting for a call that never came. "We can make this work, babe," Rashida tried to reassure him one evening. "You've got Frost Bistro, you got the clothing stores." Kurt cut her off, shaking his head. "That's not the point. Rashida, this is what I do. This is who I am. If they shut me out, how do I stay relevant? How do we keep the brand alive?" Rashida didn't have an answer. Meanwhile, was dealing with his own struggles. While Yandy was busy strategizing, trying to turn their personal brand into something bigger, Mendeecees found himself in an unfamiliar place. Uncertainty, he had built his life on the hustle, on making moves and staying ahead. But now it felt like every door was being slammed shut before he could even knock. Yandy wasn't one to sit around and wait for opportunities to come to them. If the industry didn't want them, they would build their own platform. She started reaching out to streaming services, independent production companies, even social media platforms. "We don't need VH1, she told Mendeecees confidently. "We can take this to YouTube, to Zed Network, to 2B, wherever we want. We own our brand, we don't need their cameras, we can hire our own." Mendeecees wanted to believe her, but he wasn't convinced. "It's not the same Yandy if we ain't on TV. Are people even going to care?" Yandy's confidence never was. "They'll care because we make them care. We just have to give them something they can't ignore." Meanwhile, the fallout from the blacklist was spreading. Fans were outraged. Social media exploded with debates over whether Kirk and Mendeecees deserved to be blacklisted or whether they were being unfairly punished. They built love and hip-hop. One fan tweeted, "Now they're just getting tossed aside like they never mattered. Nah, that ain't right." But others weren't as sympathetic. They knew what they were doing. Another user commented, "This ain't some regular drama they fought on set. What did they expect?" The backlash wasn't just online, former cast members, reality TV veterans. Even producers were winning in Stevie J. Another love, and Hype Hop alone made it clear where he stood. Man, I've been in this game for years. And let me tell you, there's a line. You don't cross Kirk and me's. They crossed it, but other weren't so sure they want us to act up on TV. A foreigner cast member said in a podcast interview, that's what brings in views. But the second it gets too real, suddenly we're too much. Nah, that's some bull. Despite the public outrage, the decision from the network stood firm. Kirk and me's were out. And there were no second. Chances that's when Kirk decided he wasn't going out without a fight. A legal fight. He had been in the entertainment industry long enough to know his rights. If the network wanted to blacklist him, fine. But they owed him this ain't just about a fight. Kirk told his lawyer, this is about my legacy. They used me for years. They made money off my name. Now they just want to erase me. Nah, they owe me. The Leo battle wasn't just about Kirk's contract. He wanted damages. He wanted compensation for it. The years he had dedicated to the franchise, for the reputation he had built, only to be discarded like trash. Mendeecees, on the other hand, was torn. He wasn't the type to sue. He had been through the legal system before, and he didn't want to go back down that road. But he also knew Kirk had a point. They had given everything to the show, and now they were being left with nothing. As the lawsuit became public, the industry erupted. This is a game changer, one media insider said, if Mendeecees wins. This could set a whole new precedent for reality TV stars. It's about power, about control. These networks own their talent. But Kirk's fighting back, but with the lawsuit came consequences. Now, Kirk and Mendeecees weren't just blacklisted, they were radioactive. No network, no brand, no company wanted to be associated with them. While they were in litigation, Rashida tried to talk Kirk down, babe. Maybe we should just let it go, focus on our businesses, move on. But Kirk wasn't listening. I'm not letting them win, Rashida. I'm fighting this until the end. Yandy, on the other hand, saw the bigger picture. She knew Mendeecees didn't want to get caught up in lawsuits and legal drama, so she made a bold move, a reality TV comeback on their own terms. She reached out to producers, pulling favors, and before long, the plan was in motion. A new show, independent, uncensored, raw. Kirk and Mendeecees might have been blacklisted from Love and Hip Hop, but that didn't mean they were done. The question now was, will the fans follow them, or was this truly the end of the road? The drama isn't over yet, and you already know this story is far from finished. Kirk Frost and Mendeecees Harris might have been blacklisted, but will they really stay gone? Will. Kirk's lawsuit shake up the reality TV world, and can Yami's bold move bring them back into the spotlight on their own terms? Fans are divided, the industry is watching, and one thing is clear, this scandal is just getting started. What do you think? Should Kirk and Mendeecees be given another shot? Or did they take things too far, and will their independent comeback actually succeed? Or is this truly the end of their reality TV careers? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to stay updated on all the shocking twists, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. This story is developing fast, and trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next.